Hi, and welcome back to Temple Street. I'm Alex Moore.
And I'm Lisa Antonangeli. In today's show, we'll take a behind-the-scenes tour through Suffolk's award-winning theater department.
We'll talk to Marilyn Plotkins about recent hit productions at Suffolk's Theater.
And later, we sent two brave reporters out to get the scoop on Boston's favorite ice cream place.
We'll end today with a first look at the city's newest skateboard park, scheduled to open in 2006.
But first, let's take a look at this week's Spotlight on Suffolk. Elizabeth Loran and Nick Nagy looked into what it takes to producing a play.
In just moments, this stage will come to life as actors from Suffolk University's theater department transport their audience to another time and place. But those involved in the production perform multiple roles, both on stage and off.
Theater's about community, and it definitely helps with the sense of community that if you're helping put the set together, helping with costumes, it sort of ties everyone together.
Each member of the cast learns every aspect of theater production, from set construction and lighting design to costuming and makeup application. This year's spring production was Kaufman and Hart's classic You Can't Take It With You, a Depression-era comedy about an exuberant and unconventional family. To prepare for the zany roles in this play, director Marilyn Plotkins brought in a dialect coach, ballet and xylophone teachers, and offered history lessons about the 1930s era.
A lot of extra attention has been going into some of the roles in this play. I learned how to play the xylophone. The woman who's been playing Essie has gotten some dance lessons, so it's a little intense, yeah.
The department attracts quite a diverse crowd. Whether theater majors or not, everyone here shares the same zest for the stage.
It's a passion.
The ideal, the hobby must improve the mind as well as the body. The Romans, they were great people. Why? What was their hobby? Wrestling. In wrestling, you have to think quick with the mind and that quick with the body.
It is this passion that has allowed the department to flourish over the past few years.
Very good showing. Oh, no, you'll be a great wrestler. You are built for it.
We had gone from 2 productions a year, now we have, counting all the student-directed stuff, now we have something like 11. We had gone from 1 faculty member, me, now I have a team of 14. We had gone from 5 courses a year, now we have, in any given year, it's about 13, 14 a term, so we have about 28, 30 courses a term. So we've grown faster than I ever would have dreamed possible.
The theater department offers majors in performance, dance, theater studies, dramatic literature, and arts administration. Its productions and students have received awards and recognition from the Kennedy Center and American College Theater Festival for the past 6 years.
Listen, you're rushing, not pulling that stunt. No gentleman pushes their way to the front and then moves to the back, which he does with the grunt, which is how I say Roosevelt.
As you can see, the training is very, very good, and I think the department sees it as our job not only for students to be comfortable here, but we do a lot of work in trying to encourage students to do summer internships and auditions and get them into stuff that will get them into the world and get them working. It's a big part of our job.
So there's a lot of individual attention because it's such a small department, which is nice.
Say, he's kind of cute.
She's just acting, Reba. She doesn't mean anything.
Productions are held in the 417-seat C. Walsh Theater and Intimate Black Box Studio Theater. Each season consists of 2 faculty-directed productions and features a student-directed one-act festival and student playwrights festival. Perhaps the goal of the department is best summed up in the following statement: the theater is how we rehearse and remember who we are. It is the place where audiences and performers gather to illuminate eternal life questions, celebrate the joy of collective creativity, and bear witness to our common humanity. This is Elizabeth Lawrence reporting for Temple Street.
I've always wanted to find out what goes on behind the curtain. To better understand the theater process, Elizabeth sat down with the head of the theater department, Dr. Marilyn Plotkins.
Marilyn, first of all, thank you for being here today.
It's great to be here.
Thank you. Now, you laid the foundation for the theater department as we know it today at Suffolk. How did you discover your talent for sharing your passion with other people?
When I was a little girl, because I came from a very big family. It was actually, my family was more like a clan than a family. I was always in charge of entertainment. So I always knew that I was the one that was supposed to get up in front of the crowd and you know, make them laugh or cry or whatever it is. I was the girl who was supposed to do the entertainment, and always felt that that was something that I understood very well and was very natural. And then when I was in college, a big moment was I took directing, not because I thought I was going to be a director, but because I thought it would make me a better actor. And my acting and directing teacher, who I admired a lot, said to me, you know, you should be directing, you should be teaching. And then when I went to graduate school, I had another mentor who said, this is what you should be doing. And I thought, well, maybe so. And I did, and I found it suited me very well.
Could you talk a little bit about your inspirations growing up, your mentors?
My first great inspiration was my piano teacher, Harry Franklin, who for many years was the head of the music department at Carnegie Mellon University, which has really, really fine music program in Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh is where I grew up. And what I loved about Harry is that I would come to his house and he would play Bach, who I adored as a teenager. And he would play so beautifully and so perfectly, it made me want to play at that level. I wanted to be able to make something happen under my fingers that reached the level of what Harry could do. Now, to be around someone every week who operated at such a high standard without any affect, without any pretension, but just made something beautiful happen in a regular way, was a deep inspiration. He was probably the best teacher I ever had. Another great inspiration was a teacher that I had very briefly at Harvard. There was a woman by the name of Anna Sokolov, and I was the only student who wasn't a company member. She was there rehearsing her company to present something at Harvard at the Loeb. And people told me on that day that when you're in Anna's class, you're not allowed to yawn. And I thought, oh, you know, oh my goodness. I was so nervous about yawning, and, you know, on her behalf. And she taught this, you know, just exercise at the beginning of the class. And it was very difficult. And she kept doing the same exercise over and over and over and over and over again. And I thought, I don't have the strength for this. I thought, I'm going to fall on the floor. But I was surrounded by all these, you know, company members who were professional. I wasn't a professional dancer. I was just an eager student. So I'm surrounded by all these people who were doing it with apparent ease. And I was, you know, I was struggling, and I didn't think I could stand on my feet. And she just kept saying, again, again, again. And I thought, I don't think I can do it again. I don't think I had the strength. And then I kept doing it. And then I found, by making myself continue to do it, even when I didn't think that I could, I realized that it made me stronger. It's a huge lesson. And so she became an important role model.
Would you say that that lesson is something you take with you?
All the time. Yeah. All the time. Because, you know, it's in the theater, you know, the joke is it's not cancer research. So anything can be solved through the imagination. So I think one of the things I really love about doing theater is that when things seem insolvable, you know, something terrible happens and you think, oh my goodness, I can't go on. There's always a way to figure it out and go on and be stronger at the other end. So I really love that about this business.
What draws you exactly to the theater? Why is it so magical? Why?
You know, I made a decision that I wanted to work with college-age students. And I made that decision because I really wanted to be working with people who were at the brink of becoming their mature selves and were really hungry for someone who could help them see what is possible, something that maybe they felt too insecure about to realize, themselves. So the great thing about being a teacher and a director is that you can help people to see the best in themselves and help them to see how they can get somewhere that they perhaps never imagined for themselves. That is extremely rewarding, to go from, you see fear and doubt, and to be able to translate that into confidence and ambition. It's enormously rewarding. So that's a huge reason that I'm here. And one of the reasons that I love Suffolk so much is that we attract that kind of student. We attract students with very little pretension and sense of entitlement. We attract people who are motivated and eager and smart and ambitious. And I find that I bring a lot of people in from the outside. They see it instantly.
What's one thing you try to instill in the actors you direct and the students you teach? What's one thing do you think is important for young actors?
Yeah. Huge lesson that I learned a long time ago, and I learned it out of a book. But it had a profound... I heard this very famous director out of San Francisco. Actually, I heard him speak, and then I got his book. His name is William Ball. I had seen a production of his in Pittsburgh when I was 17. One of the best productions I had ever seen. It was of Death of a Salesman. Astonishing production. And so I felt very drawn to this man. And one of the things that he used to say was that an actor's instincts are perfect. And you must never say no when you're in a creative process. You must hear every idea that comes on the table, because it's only when even if you think an idea is bad, if in your heart, someone says, I'm going to try this, or I think this, or I think that, and you may be thinking, oh my God, that's awful. You can't say that I think your idea is awful. You have to say, okay, let's try it, and let's find out. There's many reasons that lesson has had such a profound impact on me. One is that I used to think that as a director or teacher that I had to have all the answers. I used to think, well, I have to be the smartest one in the room. What I learned as part of that lesson is that there's so much that I can learn from the people who are around me. And if I allow myself to listen and watch what other people bring to the table, then I'm better. It makes me better. But the other thing that I learned is that if you say no to somebody, if someone says, I want to try this, and you say no, then they'll never want to give you an idea again. Whereas if you had an idea, you're a wonderful actress. If you had an idea and I thought it was a bad idea, I would say, try it. Once you tried it, you'd know right away if it was a good idea. Because you may think the idea is good, but then you do it and you'll say, oh, that didn't feel right. And then we'll say, oh, but let's try that. Or you may have another idea. So, well, I'll try that. So I always think bad ideas lead to good ideas. So I always encourage that. And I get very angry if anybody says no when you're in the middle of a creative process. When you get to the end, then it's a different story. But
And do you think that translates to life, to life not only in theater?
Yeah.
How would you? The theater is notorious for being very difficult to make a living, and would you still encourage people to study it, even if they know they might not make a living?
Such a great question. It's a really great question, because it's a question I asked myself a lot when I first started teaching, because I thought, why teach if you know that the 80%, 90% of actors are unemployed in this country? And so the way I answer that for myself, the way I justify it for myself is the discipline of the theater is fantastic regardless you enter the profession or not. And I think, when I was a little girl, my parents made it very clear to me that they expected me to make a living. And so I always felt that pressure of wanting to make a living and to be financially independent. And coming here had a lot to do with that. And so there are ways to have a life in the theater. I would never recommend it to anyone unless they were willing to do what it takes. I mean, people who are successful in the theater are not necessarily the most talented people. They are the most self-sacrificing. They're the most dedicated. They're the ones with the most ambition. They're the most with the most gumption, the most chutzpah. The ones who are willing to work the hardest, get themselves out there, do what has to be done, which isn't always pleasant. You know, those are the people who have lives in the theater, and the others are bitter and unhappy. So I think you would never, because the field is so full of rejection, you wouldn't encourage someone to do it unless you couldn't talk them out of it anyway. And then once you know that they want to do it no matter what, and they understand what it takes, then you give them everything that that they need. But I think most people who succeed deeply understand what a tremendous commitment it is.
Absolutely. Do you have any projects coming up?
Well, I do. I do, and it's a little scary to talk about, but one of my passions are new musicals. I've been developing new musicals for 15 years, but because I've been working on a book which just got published a couple of months ago, I've had to put that on kind of on the back burner for the last few years. So my new ambition is to find a musical to develop with my students, because for the first time in my life at Suffolk University, I have students who are really gifted musically, who have the skills to be able to tackle a new musical. It absolutely thrills me. I never thought that I would have so many students who are so gifted at this time of my life here. So I'm really feeling. So now I'm in the process of deciding which writers will I work with, which project will I choose, and that's something that I'll be deciding over the next few months.
That's wonderful. I'm just interested. Can you tell me a little bit about your book that was published?
Oh yeah. Well, I just published a reference book on the American Repertory Theater. It's called the ART Reference Book: The Brustein Years. It's something I've worked on for a very long time, and it's a book that chronicles everything the ART has done for the last 23. Well, they're now 25 years old. But Robert Brustein, who is one of the most important voices of American theater, founded the ART in 1982. He originally started at Yale. He was there for 13 years, then moved the theater here, and they have an international reputation. It's one of the most important theaters in the world. And basically what I did is I read everything about every play that they produced, and I organized all the data, so that if you wanted to know anything about anything that they did in 23 years, you could find it in my book.
That's wonderful.
You know, one of the things that one regret I have in my life is that I don't get to travel more. You know, I would love to visit every place on the planet. So I can't do that in a literal way because I can't, you know, I have a family and I can't afford to, and you know, so I can't literally go everywhere I want to go. But I can go all kinds of places when I do a play. I mean, it's one of the things I love about directing. You know, you enter this world and then you just kind of steep yourself in this world, and then you travel in it and you live in it, and it really is like being somewhere else. And the richness of, I mean, this is also a wonderful thing about being at university, because you get to spend a lot more time with a play. So I spent a lot of time doing research and getting myself, you know, involved in that world. It's a very rich experience. So I love that. I love that.
It has been wonderful to talk to you. You're truly a blessing for your students here.
Thank you.
Are, and thank you so much for the interview. It's been so interesting.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed it.
Thanks
a lot.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Now for this week's Word on the Street, we sent Ryan and Molly out to get the inside scoop on the best ice cream place in Boston.
Ice cream is a true Boston obsession. A 2003 Boston Globe study shows that Boston is ranked 5th city in the country for ice cream consumption. There are many ice cream options in Boston, from Ben & Jerry's to Suffolk's own C-Store. We hit the streets to find out the one place with the best ice cream in town.
Diabetic, so I don't eat ice cream, but if I'd have to say, it'd be sugar-free, probably from Baskin Robbins.
I like to go to Harold's on the corner of Harvard Ave and Brighton Ave in Alston. They make their own fat-free, but you can get it with fat in it too. It's really good. That's where I go.
What's the place that makes them slave over the ice cream with the tongues?
Brigham's?
Why do you like Brigham?
Because it's cheap.
After extensive, non-official research, the verdict was in.
Cafe Podima. That place is awesome.
I like Cafe Podima because they have frozen yogurt ice cream, tofu ice cream that's really good and vegan, and the only vegan ice cream in Boston. It's delicious.
Because the taste of it and the way we do it. We do it as you tell us. If you want like Snickers, and like we put the Snickers bar in. We have over 70 flavors, different. If you like, you might like Oreo, you might like Reese's, you know. So you can combine 2, 3, 4 flavors together to make it like unique. And that's the difference between us. We get like doctors, nurses, we get professional people, we get students. So it's kind of mixed. Delivery, we go like we deliver to Cambridge, of course here in Boston, we go to Charlestown too. It's like about 3-mile radius. Like rainy day, don't feel like coming out, you give us a call, we'll deliver it to you.
And it's delicious.
Cafe Padima's ice cream is it. The ice cream plays music on your tongue. It's inexpensive and can be delivered to your door for free. If you're looking for the ultimate frozen satisfaction, Cafe Padima is the place for you.
Well, that definitely looks like a good solution to a hot day.
I couldn't agree more. Their combinations there are superb. Well, if you're ever on Cambridge Street, take our advice and try Cafe Podima.
Next, Vietnam Lee presents to you the most exciting future spot for skateboarders, right here under our own Zachem Bridge.
Plans of constructing a 40,000 square feet skate park is scheduled to open in 2006. Located under the Zachem Bunker Hill Bridge in East Cambridge, the Charles River Skate Park will provide these athletes with a venue where they can safely practice and compete.
Particularly the Zachem Bridge has become the monument that is a landmark for Boston. It's a real placemaker for Boston. So to place something right underneath will make this whole park area, give it a signature, and it will become an attraction for all the young people in the greater Boston area.
You know, to have the skate park under it is really complimentary. You know, it's like the last 2 lines of a wonderful sonnet. You know, it's been a great poem, and then you get to the last 2 lines and it just kind of blows you away. That's what this piece is going to be. It's an accent. It's wonderful.
In Boston, there's a huge range of skaters. From the top professionals to the first-time skaters. The Charles River Conservancy reached out to the skaters and the youth community of Boston.
Well, so far we had 3 public meetings at the Boston Public Library, and we had over 150 skaters and their parents and community members come to those meetings to inform them about the skate park, to get their input of what they would like to see. So we're reaching out to a community that normally is not an organized community, but through skate shops, through emails, through schools, we really were able to reach a lot of young skaters.
What's interesting is that some of the people that most people would assume to be less educated about skate park design, the younger kids, are actually some of the most articulate in terms of expressing what their needs are within this skate park project. So ultimately we had them work with modeling clay. Many people just told us what they wanted in their park. Many people drew things that they wanted in their park. And we will then take all of those ideas back and combine those with other factors like the budget for the project, the constraints and opportunities of the site, safety issues, and our own experience designing parks to come up with a design to present back to that same group of people that are interested in using the park to see if it's close to what they want. and continue from that point to work with them to refine the design.
Well, I like skateboarding because you can do it in your driveway. You don't have to go to a field, or you don't have to dress in fancy clothes to do it. You don't have to put on pads and skates and wear a helmet to do it. You can just do it anywhere.
It's fascinating, whether I see it on the slopes or whether I see it on the half pipes or in the bowls that I've been witnessing. It's a great opportunity for children to share in the excitement of this sport and to learn the respect that one another needs and giving each other their space, and how a community can come together around a sport that is really drives the individual to whatever level they're comfortable being, so that there's just a great opportunity for the kids to come out and be whoever they want to be out there for that time that they have, and it's their own time. No parents telling them, this is what you're going to do, this is how you're going to do it. It's their event.
What this does is just lend itself to the quality of living in the city of Boston. These young people, men, women, young boys and girls, who skateboard, or just skate, have no place to go. And it's dangerous for them, it's dangerous for people who kind of walk by them. It's working in and out of traffic all day long, and all of a sudden there's a world-class skate park that these youngsters can go to. It's great, and it lends itself, as I said, to the quality of living in the city.
My hope would be, as I'm sure many others' hopes are, that the introduction of a world-class skate park facility along the riverfront will pay tribute to the long history of adding and promoting recreation for people in the community along the riverfront. And hopefully it'll do so in a way that not only serves just the skaters and the bicyclists that will be using the park, but it will do so in a way that other members of the community can appreciate and can respond to and can enjoy and feel as though it's become part of their community.
For more information or to be involved with the Charles River Skate Park project, visit them at www.charlesriverconservancy.org, 617-641-9131.
Wow, that looks like it's going to be the hottest spot in town.
I'll be there. I just better make sure I bring my helmet, just in case.
Yeah, that'll do it for the show today. I'm Alex Moore.
And I'm Lisa Antonangeli. Thanks for watching.
See you next week.